Hello everyone, Evasion here. Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be my first kind of overview at the assassination talents for Dragonflight. And I've already created a build, so this isn't actually like my first look, but this is the result of my first look. So without further ado, let's hop into it. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please be sure to give the video a like. It is the best way to support the channel. And yeah, so let's hop into it. So coming into the game this time, looking at the talents has been really fun for me because literally every other expansion that's come out in this game, I have always been either a part of beta or reading the updates and changes to the game. So for me to see these talents yesterday was like the first time I ever actually looked at them. And that was actually kind of fun in itself because I was like trying to make heads or tails of what was going on. First thing I noticed for assassination is that we no longer had Vendetta, but instead we had this move called Death Mark in the assassin tree. Which I'll get into this a little bit. I just want to talk about the basic rogue talents first before talking about the assassination specific ones. So in our rogue talent tree, we have like most of our baseline abilities that you would expect. We have like Shiv, Blind, Zap, Cloak of Shadows, Feint, Evasion, and then you have like some improved stuff as you get further down. It's kind of cool to see Blackjack make a comeback. This was first introduced back in, I believe, Cataclysm or Mists of Pandaria. And it's kind of neat because I'm pretty sure this triggers if it works the same way it did then. Haven't got to play around with it a whole lot yet. I'm pretty sure that when they trinket, it will activate on them. So it kind of adds effectiveness to your blind. One really cool thing is it looks like you can get Shadow Step as any of the specs. And there's further ways to improve it in the other trees. Basically, with the build that I was going for, I was trying to maximize poison effectiveness and kind of recreate what I knew to be assassination at the current time, so not too much experimentation from my part. I just grabbed, like, increased poison effects, fleet-footed. This is going to be like an auto lock-in for me. Moving faster in this game is, like, mandatory. If you're not moving like a NASCAR, you're being left in the dust. Normally, we had to choose between Vigor and Mark for Death, and now you can have both. And so that's actually really crazy because Vigor is very, very useful for setting up in an opener, especially as assassination, where you usually have like limited resources. You can drop like a cheap shot or something and then go over and then grow out kidney. You can see rogues having leeching poison a lot of the time, which is very, very good for solo content. And Thistle Tea makes a return. So basically we'll have a 1-minute recharge way to restore 100 energy. This is going to be very good in combination of Vigor, so it's cool that it leads into it. Because restoring 100 energy, it would, if you only had 120 energy, it would be pretty easy to waste some of that. But having that bigger 170 energy pool, it'll be actually pretty cool to get use out of this. This will only really be useful in situations where you're able to have like extended uptime from like a PvP perspective. But it's probably going to be the way that people will go in this tree. I'm not sure exactly how many points we are going to obtain because this is recorded at level 60, obviously, and at level 70, I'm sure we will gain some more points. I skipped the improved wound poison in this particular build, but there's going to be an insane reason to take this later on because right now we still have to go with crippling poison and deadly as assassination for optimal damage. But further on the assassin tree, it's kind of like the return of the deadly brew talent that shows up in Wrath of the Lich King, where your wound poison, mind numbing, and instant poison will apply crippling. You may apply one additional lethal and non-lethal poison, so we'll be able to have like mind numbing, crippling, wound, and deadly poison all at the same time. So no longer will you have to make that choice between do I want a mortal strike or do I want damage. Alright, so for the assassination talent tree, we have a lot of cool stuff. We start off with deadly poison. We get improved Shiv, which makes it so that your Shiv does that increased nature damage. Currently, we still have the effectiveness of conduits, and I'm assuming conduits will go away once we start leveling. And so this talent might be a little bit weaker than 39%, but right now in pre-patch, it is disgusting. This will probably be a mandatory lock-in no matter what, as a large portion of assassination's damage is poison. So we will also have Venomous Wounds. This is going to be another mandatory thing. This is how you get your energy regen going as assassination. I don't know if Internal Bleeding is going to count for this, as it is not listed. It did currently work with this beforehand, but it doesn't seem to say it now in here. Death Mark, there's a lot of things pointing at it. It's probably going to be something you grab. You have to apply this and then apply your bleeds after the fact, as far as I'm aware. Improved Garrote It essentially is like having Subterfuge, so that's why in the normal Rogue talent tree, you'll notice that I skipped Subterfuge, because this actually functions for Garrote as if you had Subterfuge, which makes the only reason really to take Subterfuge as Assassination is if you really need those cheap shots or you really need those extra saps during that 3-second window. Maybe with more talent points, it will be something that I look to go into. There's going to be lots of changes to how I do my builds. This is literally just the first time I actually sat down and put something together, which it was pretty effective. There's a bunch of AoE talents along the left side. I pretty well avoided those because I was trying to do PvP. There might be some crazy builds you could do with this depending on what classes you pair with. And something to look at too, a talent like this here, Vicious Venoms, it looks all right. Ambush and Mutilate deal an additional 10% as nature damage. But the thing is, if you play Assassination Rogue, you know that your Ambush and your Mutilate don't really deal a whole lot of damage. So in the other side of the tree, we have stuff where your nature damage over times and bleeds add increased damage to targets with each weapon poison, nature damage over time, or bleed effect. So this actually leads into a Mutilate deals an additional 20% bleed. This bleed itself is trash. The damage does nothing, but it adds an extra 4% damage, or 2% damage rather. And that's just way better. Buffs your Envenom, buffs your other poisons, your bleeds. And Shrouded Suffocation. This is the talent I really want to talk about. There's lots I've skipped over here. I'll go back up in a second. But this talent, this was I believe is a thing on, what was the thing on the gear in BFA called? I don't remember. But it allowed you to get 3 combo point openers. So you could essentially use Garrote, apply a 3-point Rupture. You could throw like a half Garrote on the end of your Subterfuge. And then use like Mutilate Kidney and still have Mark for Death or something like that. And it just accelerates the rotation a lot. It makes you feel like you're not setting up for as long. It makes the way you do set up way more powerful. This is an amazing talent. I'm really happy to get this back. Sepsis and Serrated Bone Spike made it into the talent tree. Sepsis seems really powerful still. I don't know if it'll stay this powerful, but it is definitely good at the moment, and it's nice to have for 25 energy and a single point. You can't really go wrong. You might have to skip it if you're going into the opposite side to go for something like Kingsbane. It's cool to see Kingsbane make a return, even if it's slightly weaker. Having a 1-minute burst cooldown will be pretty good, because then you won't be reliant on Deathmark, or I'm sure Deathmark is intended to be like the revamped Vendetta. The reason that we'll probably end up going for Sepsis is probably because you want to get to this Dragon Tempered Blades. This talent is so cool. Allows you to have 1,000,000 poisons on your weapons, and that's going to be pretty sweet. It's cool to see Master Assassin or some form of it stay in the talent tree as well. It's really good paired with all these Garrote opener talents. Ironwire is here as well. I'm assuming this isn't actually going to be 6 seconds in PvP, but to be fair, I haven't actually tested it yet. It's probably 4 seconds in PvP. This will still be good. It'll probably be picked up. I just skipped it for now. There's Amplifying Poison, which is a new thing. This looks like it could be interesting for some front-loaded burst kind of strategies. This could probably be used alongside Dragon Tempered Blades. In fact, that'll probably end up being the PvE thing that people do. But yeah, I can't wait to mess around with that. It's cool to see the Zoldyck recipes stay in here. The name itself is just a Hunter x Hunter anime reference, which I think is really cool. That's pretty much all I want to talk about. Oh wait, Tiny Toxic Blades here. If I had more points, I would press this. It probably hits pretty hard right now in pre-patch. Elaborate Planning State as well. This thing's really good. I will probably try to redo some stuff and get this. I kind of like the gameplay around managing this. And 2 Shadow Steps as Assassin. That's pretty well everything I want to talk about in this video. Our honor talents are still a lot of what we remember to be here previously. I can go over these maybe in detail in a different video if there's any interest in that. But I just wanted to kind of talk about the new talents. I'm excited to see the talent trees in here. Hopefully that will help keep some of the systems out of the damn game, you know, and we can just level up our characters and gear up, play PvP, you know, play Mythic Plus, play raids, whatever we want to do, and not have to go through hours of quest lines and stuff before we play the game. I'm excited for that. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like. It's kind of just me ranting about the talents, but I know that some of you will enjoy it. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one. If you want to see more classic WoW or retail WoW content, be sure to subscribe. Have a great day. See you again soon.